What's going on, everybody? It's Q Jackson, host of BLK Talk. Look, I was over here preparing for another amazing episode, but look, I need you guys to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell so that you guys don't miss any of our amazing conversations. Have a new episode coming to you in 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's going on, everybody? It's Q Jackson, host of BLK Talk, and I'm back with another amazing conversation, another amazing guest, and another amazing show. Guys, today we have one of the best actors out here in Atlanta. We have producer, we have business owner, we have everything in this guy right here. Welcome to BLK Talk, Mr. Davien Harlis. Welcome to BLK Talk.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Absolutely. How's everything been going with you?
All is well.
Okay.
All is well.
So for the last, how many years have I known you? It's been quite
a
a
long
few.
time. I think the very first time we met, I don't even know because I knew we passed for a long time, and then I think we spoke for the first time because of Raheem.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. Shout out to Raheem Brazil.
Almost during his Twisted series era, so it's been.
That was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wow. And like this man has been doing some amazing things in the city of Atlanta. So for the people who are unfamiliar, let them know a little bit about you.
So my name is Davien Harlis. I am an actor. I moved to Atlanta from Fort Lauderdale. When I originally came here, I did not know what the plan was. But leaving church one day, a lady approached me and said, "Hey, you look like somebody I want to be in my stage play." And so from there, I didn't really audition. She gave me a leading role. And from there is when I got into acting. And so I came out during a time when Issa Rae became popular. She had just gotten picked up by HBO for Awkward Black Girl. And so everybody started doing web shows and was just like, this would be my next claim to fame. So then I ventured into the web world. From the web world, I got introduced to reality television. And one particular role, I noticed that they wanted me to be this extremely flamboyant guy. And that showed me how they viewed gay black men and what they wanted from us. And so after that, it inspired me to move away from everybody else's work and to start my own. And so that's when I did my first project in 2017, which was Red Carpet Hashtags and Heartbreak, which led to me launching Act1Scene2 Productions, which lands me today with my third project, working on the fourth under my own production.
So we have quite a gap in a lot of the things that you've done, but to be at the place where you are now after not knowing where you were going to be, like how does that feel?
So that's a twofold question. We could talk about God on here?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I did not know what I was going to do. But in 2008, I took a job in Iraq. And in 2009...
Like actually
like living. In Iraq, living during the war, missiles, all of that stuff flying. It was crazy.
Thank God you made it.
Thank you, Lord. But it was like a part of the plan. Because when I got to Iraq, I found myself in a space where I was going to a military church, and I was like, this is not what I'm used to, Lord. I need to hear from you. And one day he woke me up and he was like, go home. It's time to go. And he was like, go home, act, sing, model, and encourage my people. And so that's when I was introduced to the acting. And so after that, things began to move. So when you ask, I find myself here. I had no clue then, but it's landed me here. So it lets me know that what he said was true, and there's still more to go, but so thankful to be here.
Yes. Now, what I've always wanted to know, the Act 1 Scene 2, where did that come from?
Something random. So like, I was being introduced to Twitter first, I think, and then Instagram came. and I needed a handle, and I knew that I was in the arts. I knew that I was an actor, and so I think I just saw the clapboard, and I was like, oh, let's do Act 1 Scene 2, and it just stuck over the years. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, you're in Atlanta. Now, you said you moved from Fort Lauderdale, so is that where you're originally from, or you were just living there?
I moved here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yes, that's where I'm from.
Okay. So, what things have you learned from like living in Fort Lauderdale that allowed you to become the person that you were or are here in Atlanta?
So, Florida, I was wild. Like, Florida is a different world.
For real.
Florida is a different world than Atlanta. And so I was a thug in Florida. I was in the streets. I was wild. And so I moved.
What is your
here.
definition of a thug?
I used to fight. I used to steal.
Really?
I would set things on fire. Set people on fire.
The more you know.
Now, I've never set a person on fire, but no, I was a little worldly, and so I came here to calm down. And so going from the fast and the wild in Florida coming to Atlanta, it was totally different. Like, I look at people and I'm like, they're so slow.
But I mean, Atlanta is kind of. So how did you not become, I guess, who you were there? What things did you learn about yourself when you got here?
So I do feel like I grew up in Atlanta. When I came here, I saw opportunities that I hadn't seen in Fort Lauderdale. And I saw that if I didn't change my ways and my path, I wasn't going to have anything. And I didn't like that. And so I started seeing opportunities. I started seeing Black men have things that I didn't see Black men have before. And it turned into, I want some of that, and how do I get that? And I saw the opportunity to get it. So that caused me to pivot and say, well, let's try this and see what that gets us, or where we can go if we're obedient to that.
So earlier, you mentioned that there was a role that was offered about the LGBT person.
Yes.
And how people create the stereotype of what they think the gay person is.
Yes.
With a lot of reality shows, they create the stereotype of what they want the Black woman or the angry Black woman to look like. But you decided to take it in your own hands and create a company where you can put out the type of content that you want. Now, how important was it for you to create images that represented people in the way that they truly were, as opposed to how people wanted them to be?
I felt like I was in my 30s and I still didn't necessarily have anybody that I saw on television or film that I could identify with fully to say like, oh, if I had to describe myself, that would be, I hadn't seen that yet. And I felt like there were more men like me that existed and deserved to be shown, because I felt like, one, although the flamboyant man is a part of the community, there's other people and other personalities I felt like that at the time we weren't getting to see. And I felt like I deserved to be seen just like anybody else. So after that role, which was Rickey Smiley, but at the time it was one of the males on Housewives supposed to do it, but he was busy. And so they called me, and I guess they didn't want to steer away from what they originally signed up for. And it turned into, well, can you just look like him and do it like him? And it's like, no. So wanting something to identify with is why it was so important to me. And I knew I wasn't the only person who felt like that.
Okay. Now, the projects that you have created, the projects that you have released, where did the inspiration come from?
The first one, the inspiration came from, I needed a job. And I didn't want what was being offered to me. So I had all of these scenes that I had written down, and I had ideas in my head. And I was like, oh, well, let's go make a movie. Not knowing what I was doing. And I think when you watch the movie, you can probably tell he didn't know what he was doing. But I got it done, and it showed me that I could do it. Um, so that was the first project. The inspiration was just we needed a job. We had started the company.
Now, real quick, before you go into that, now knowing what you know now about the industry and about like the behind the scenes and everything, would that be a project that you would redo?
Would I redo it? Yes. What I would do differently this time is trust my own ideas and visions versus allowing somebody that knew more about the structure of film, not the business. They just knew how to put a film together. And so because I didn't know, I said yes to a lot of things that today I would say, no, that doesn't go like that.
Okay. All right. Now the second project.
The second project, I had gotten a little cocky from the first one. So that first project did really well. It was released in theaters. It was sold out every night. Jam-packed, people sat on the floor to watch it. Important people came. I was like, wow, this was beautiful.
You didn't make them sit on the floor, did you?
No, they had room. And so after that one, it was like, oh, well, let's do it again. And I thought that I had learned what I needed to learn. And so I created this project called 8 Counts of Deception, where the budget had tripled. I went into production on this bigger project with the mindset from the first one. So it failed. And nobody probably will ever see that project. I still owe people from that movie. But I pay them just like out of pocket. So they've been getting the money. But some people still aren't paid in full. And that was 2018, 2019. So with that project, that led me to my third project that I produced, which was Some Kind of Christmas. And I had learned for real from the first and the second project. And I was able to do that project with less money, a shorter period of time. The quality was so much better. And that project is what's keeping me alive today.
So each project that you have worked on, that you've released, it's like you've learned something new about the industry and yourself.
Yes.
What are the top 3 things that you would take away from each experience?
The first experience, I would say, taught me that it was okay to have a dream bigger than anything I had seen done around me, and that I could achieve it. The second project taught me that it was okay to fail, because that was very embarrassing and expensive. But I remember God asking me, would you want to learn the lesson at 25,000 or 2 million? Because if you lose $2 million, nobody would want to work with you again. And then by the time I got to the third project, I had learned that even after the failure, you can recover. And there were still things learned and takeaways from the failure. And it made me so much better with the third one.
Okay. Now, what I've learned, especially here in Atlanta, there are a lot of creatives. And a lot of the creatives have been in a space where they've been upset with the industry, or they've been angry with the opportunities that have been given to them or not been given to them. And from that, a lot of them have gone on to create spaces of their own where they can do their own thing. Now, for you, was it tough with like so many people doing their own thing? Was it tough to find like the market that would support you?
No, for 2 reasons. So some of those creators, I knew them. Some of those creators, I had worked with them and they had gotten budgets and moved on to bigger things. But I always felt like that's them. I still always had me. I always felt like I don't have to fit in with them. I don't want anything that they have, because I have my own ideas and I have my own creativity that I know I bring to the table. And regardless how anybody feels about that, I was just like, it could be however me, it's still me. And there was something I feel like is unique about me that I bring to the table that people appreciated.
Okay. Now, you've worked with celebrities. You've worked with the up-and-coming creative. Where do you think you shine more?
I think you can put me in either of the environment and I'm going to be myself. If I am around the celebrity, I am able to say that the career that once never existed has landed me in the same room as this person. Wow, that is an amazing achievement. If I'm in the room with the up and coming, I'm able to say one or two things. I was once that person and it has led us to cross these paths. Or, wow, my career has grown me to the place that I'm able to sit with somebody and after me, they may go on to do bigger, better things than me. I appreciate just being in the room because this once didn't exist. So either way, to me, it's like, I'm very thankful.
Have you gotten to the place where people have come to you and asked you to like mentor them and like ask for advice?
Yes. And I had to put a price tag on that because
knowing your worth.
Yeah. I realized that I was giving out all of this information and all of these things that I had learned along the way. And that's not to say that if you call me, it's automatically, well, you got to pay me this. But if somebody comes to you and say like, hey, my cousin is doing a production and they want to know A, B, and C, and we need to sit down and I need to charge you for that because that's my time. And then you'll take my knowledge and run off with it. And I'm still, the time that I took away to sit with you, I could have been doing something for me. That's why I have to charge you. So yes, I learned to charge people.
Hey, and it's okay to do it. Now, being an entrepreneur, we go through a lot of emotions, especially when we want whatever it is we're working on, whether you're an actor, whether you're a musician, whether you're a lawyer, whatever you are, you want whatever it is you're doing to be perfect. And we know that does not always happen, and it could take a toll on you emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically. But for you, how do you keep your mental health intact with everything that goes on?
I go to a therapist. I've consistently been in therapy for almost 2 years, which has helped tremendously because now I have tools, right? And I have things to say, or just somebody to give me a different perspective to say to not handle it that way. But I will be honest and say that it is not always intact. There are moments when it's like, this is stupid. I would much rather have a 9 to 5 where there's some level of consistency, right? Mental, schedule, financial, because sometimes, baby, you don't know when the next check is coming. But I always remember that when God spoke this to me, nothing existed. So to be in a space that I am even saying my mental is not in the best space because my script or the budget or the production schedule has me stressed, it's like, whoa, this once didn't exist. So it's kind of like that, don't cry about what you once prayed for. Nobody said it was going to feel good, and you wanted to be in the midst of it where you're in the midst of it, and this is what it looks like. So it'll just be a therapy session. I take long walks on the belt line of the park to clear my mind. If you have to smoke, then that's what you have to do. You do what you have to do to make sure that you're okay and that you don't jump.
Now, we are now in the beginning of Men's Health Awareness Month. We're in the beginning of Pride Month as well. Now, for the men out there who may be a little discouraged or they don't know like quite how to take those next steps to get to that next place, to accept therapy or to accept something that allows them to be greater than what they are, what are a few things that you did that like helped to get you to that place that they can benefit from?
The first thing I said to myself was that you need to go talk to somebody, because I knew that I was crazy already, but I think you know your own inner crazy, but my inner crazy had moved into a different kind of crazy, and I was like, you probably need to go talk to somebody. And then saying to myself that it was perfectly fine to go talk to somebody because I was doing it for me, and it was taking a step to make me better. and not for anybody other than myself. Um, and when I found that safe space and somebody that was, I didn't feel judged. I didn't feel like I had said anything to them that was going to make them say, you know, this is too much. And then when I saw that the tools they were giving me actually helped and worked, it was the best thing in the world for me. Because I've dealt with depression, and I had said to them, being in the bed is expensive because you're not getting anything done and the bills are still due. And so I was like, I need help. So I would say acknowledge that there's probably a conversation that you need to have, do it for yourself, and don't ever feel ashamed to go get help. But you're getting help for you. And I think that when you do it for you, it should register different.
Now, speaking of which, doing things for yourself, a lot of us have gone through moments where other people's opinions of us or other people's ideas have been so loud in our ear that we didn't know what it was that we wanted. And in our community, over the generations, a lot of times the things that you did or the decisions that you've made have been based off of what other people felt was best for your life. Now, for you, like, when did you get to that place where it was like easy to just kind of tune out other people and focus on what it was that you actually wanted?
Well, I'm a little older, so I think age was a part of it. And then I saw that I had always had this mindset that if I lead myself into a ditch, that's perfectly fine because I did it. But I wasn't someone that was going to let somebody else lead me into a ditch. You can't lead me into a ditch. It depends on what it is, right? When it comes to, let's say, wardrobe, I know I'm not the most stylish person in the world.
Could have fooled me.
I'm learning. So if somebody had said something about what I had on, that may have affected me because I wasn't confident in that area. But if somebody came and said something about my performance or what I decided to create or put into the world, that was different because I was like, well, that's me expressing myself. I have the right to do that, and I'm not going to apologize for that, and you can't make me feel any type of way about that. But it was only the areas that I wasn't the most confident in. So if it was like I didn't have on the latest shoe or have the hottest sunglasses, then it might be that girl tried to come for my outfit. It might be one of those, but other than that, I don't really care what people say or think.
Okay. Now, most artists, they know that there's always more work that can be done. Beyonce, say for instance, we know that she is always working. She still gets vocal training. She still, is learning so that she can always be on top of her game. So for you, as you continue to grow in this industry, what are some things that you're still like learning, and what tools are you like taking to be the best person you can be?
So I started as an actor. From acting, I learned that I knew how to direct and produce. And so I would just speak out on set and they would be like, oh, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, you can't? My bad. But I was saying things and they wouldn't listen. And then 10, 15 minutes later, they would do what I had just said 15 minutes ago. And it was like, well, I had said that earlier and we could have saved 20 minutes. That was the director, producer. And then there was the writer. And then there was all of these other people. So I have to learn that I still have to tighten up the actor. I have to make sure the writer is tight. I have to make sure the producer is tight. So it's all these different skills that I always have to work on. So in any environment that I go in or I'm fortunate to work in, I always try and pay attention to those things. I didn't learn in the classroom. I took jobs as an extra to go sit and watch the day move. I wanted to see why it took so long. I wanted to see the camera angles. I wanted to see lighting and sound, and I wanted to see how the production moved. So I would just go sit and work as an extra.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, I was able to see the actors and the actresses work. Famous people, I was able to see them work while I was being paid, and it was like always a classroom every day for me. Mm-hmm.
Now, with everything that you've done, the stage, behind the camera, in front of the camera, movies, web series, as a supporter or as a fan or somebody that's watching, we know visually what it is we see.
Mm-hmm.
But behind the scenes, what's the difference between like all of those? The stage, the behind the camera, in front of the camera?
Stage is repetitive. Like you're doing the same thing. You rehearse all these weeks so that you can go do it this many times on stage for this however long. I don't really like that. I don't like the repetitiveness. I don't like all of that rehearsing, and I don't like having to do the same thing that many times. So I don't really like stage like that unless it's a musical. I love a musical. But if it's just acting, probably won't like the repetitiveness of it. With film, depending on the role, you can just come in, knock it out, get your money, and go home. Or even if it's rehearsal and it's a long film process, it's done. And you walk away from it. You don't have to deal with that no more. With web is usually quick. Like you move on from show to show or scene to scene. It doesn't really take that long unless it's unorganized. And a lot of times it's unorganized.
Who is your inspiration?
So I have a few. I love Will Smith as an actor. I've always respected Will Smith as an actor. I love Patrick Ian Polk. I've always respected him and his accomplishments and what he's created, and I enjoy him as a person. He's been really kind to me. Cheryl Coco Gamble, that is my Whitney. That is my Michael. That is my Patty. That is the one thing in life outside of seeing Jesus that I was like, out of everything I'll ever get to do, that's probably something I won't achieve. And so meeting her has been that this is what I thought I'd never get to do. So because of her, I feel like I could do anything in the world.
And for you youngsters out there, Cheryl Coco Gamble, The Voice, SWV, okay?
Miss Voice,
Oh,
the
Miss
legend,
Voice.
Coco. Yes, that's who inspired me the most, yes.
Are you going to see them in concert?
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever missed a tour, ever. Yeah. Not since I've been going to them.
Have I ever seen SWV? Yes, they opened up for Tony Braxton in 2018.
Yes.
I do remember
Yes.
that.
I saw them in, I went to Nashville, the Nashville show for that one, yeah.
Okay. What's your motivation?
My motivation is I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be homeless, and I don't want to live a mediocre life. And I know that I am a black man and that it takes a lot of hard work to have things. And because I want these things, I know that I have to get up and go to work today.
So how do you want to be remembered?
You know, that is a very good question. And I asked myself that a couple of days ago. I don't know the answer just yet, though. But I do want people to say, that man loved the Lord. They better be able to say that at my funeral. I want people to know that I was very ambitious. I did not take no for an answer, and everything that I wanted to do, I did go after it. Now, if we achieve it all, maybe, maybe not, but I do want to be remembered as at least trying. I want to be remembered as a good father. I want to be remembered as a good grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Yes.
What?
Ain't that foolish?
What? How old is the little kid?
She like 8 weeks old.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
a
she
fresh
just got
grandfather.
here. Yeah.
So
yeah.
happy Father's Day month.
Thank
Happy
you.
Grandfather's
'Cause it
Day
is
month.
Father's Day
And
month.
you have a son.
I have a son.
And
so
happy Father's Day to the son. Wow.
I get to buy a Father's Day gift this year. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, my son, he's 21.
Grown.
An adult.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Whatever thought. So, I mean, that has to be, like, motivational right there because, like, not only are you doing this for you and what you have going on, but, like, you got a legacy of people, like, right behind you.
I want to leave generational wealth. Like, I want to leave something. I have told him 100 times, you need to come learn how to run my company in case something ever happens to me. I think about those things. I don't want to just leave some insurance money. I want them to have something to where if you till it, it'll work for you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, good old knowledge.
Yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Like, is he interested in the entertainment industry?
He wants to be a rapper, but I just found this out at probably like 17. When he was 17 is when he mentioned for the first time he wanted to be a rapper. And so it's one of those things, well, if you want it, then go be it. I can't do it for you.
Are you gonna put some of his music in your movies?
If it's good.
Has he not released anything that you like?
What he's let me hear so far, I don't want to listen to that.
Are you not into rap music?
If it's good.
See, I'm not. Like, I stopped at like 2005. So anything newer, I don't know it. I listen to the same things all the time.
Okay, so I probably wouldn't just go play a rap playlist, right? But if something comes on and I like it, I'll add it to a playlist. But that's the only way I'll hear it. What he's allowed me to hear, I don't want to hear that. So no.
So for the rambunctious, wild version of you 20 years ago, that didn't know what tomorrow would bring and didn't know that you would be where you are today. If you could say anything to that person right now, look in that camera and tell the 20-year-old you something encouraging.
I would tell the 20-year-old me that you don't have to fit in. It is perfectly fine to be a party of one. Pay attention to the people around you for more reasons than one, because the people that are around you today who you think are your friends will not be there 20 years later. I would tell myself to make better choices that benefit me. I would put forth all of the energy to love myself a whole lot sooner and earlier than I did. I would tell myself that you are valuable. I would tell myself that you being a black gay man is not going to hold you back from doing anything in this world that you set out to do, no matter what people say. And I would tell myself to forgive myself for all of the things that I did not know and the things that had happened to me leading up to that point. And go live a very good quality of life, because you deserve that and you can have it.
That was deep. Forgiving yourself. People don't know how strong that is. We try to forgive other people, but we got some forgiving to do for ourselves as well. But let me get you to tell the people where they can follow you, where they can support the work, and what's coming out next.
So you can follow me. I deleted my Twitter. Twitter is filthy. I deleted Twitter, but you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Act1Scene2. That's ACT1 SCENE2. On Facebook, you can find me Davien Harlis. I'm on LinkedIn. And that's it.
What's that?
Website is Act1Scene2.com. All of my handles are Act1Scene2. Yes.
Okay. Now, what's coming next for you?
What's coming next is I am working on a series. So I've produced a short film before for a different company. I've written and produced and filmed 3 films. I've never done a series before. So I'm writing a series for television. I have my lookbook done and people that I want to work with, the script and all of that stuff. So we're just working on budget and production dates. Yes.
Okay. And make sure you guys support that. And thank you guys for supporting today's conversation.
Yes, thank you.
And make sure you guys continue to support BLK Talk. Support amazing creatives, okay? This man is out here putting hard work, sweat, tears, and money, okay, into the things that he believes in. And we need to support it. All right, and thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll have another amazing conversation coming to you very soon.